Between the years of 1998 and 2000, Sony published 3 Spyro games for the PlayStation 1. The games were 3D platformers featuring a little purple fire-breathing dragon with a slightly edgy attitude. The game featured a terrific soundtrack and some of the best graphics available at the time. It quickly became one of PlayStation 1's most well-known classics, right next to Crash Bandicoot. After the third game, Spyro Year of the Dragon, came out, the company that developed the game, Insomniac Studios, stopped working on Spyro games. Universal Interactive, the company that owned and still owns the intellectual property rights to the Spyro series, let other companies try their hand at making their own Spyro games. By that time though, I had forgotten about Spyro and moved on. Well, maybe not long forgotten, but the ones I really have any attachment to are the first 3 in the series. Fast forward to November 2018, lo and behold, a company called Toys for Bob released a remaster of all 3 of the original Spyro games. I obviously immediately hopped on that shit. I threw my money so fast and with such force at Toys for Bob, the bills caught fire. So you may be wondering, why am I talking about this game in 2022? I don't know. But I'll do it anyway, because I love a good remake. So let's take a very quick look at the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. There's a lot of remakes nowadays. It seems like everything is getting a reboot, a remake, or a reskin. Some of these redos of video games like to mess around with the aspects of the original for the sake of improving things. The Spyro Reignited Trilogy likes to keep things exactly how it was back in the day. Toys for Bob rebuilt these games from the ground up using the Unreal 4 engine, but they stayed very faithful to the source material. There's no new secret areas, no silly, now you can jump in the air and fly outside of the map nonsense. All of the limitations are still there, they didn't update anything except for the graphics and the music. This helps it fall straight into the idea of remastered video games looking like what we initially thought the original looked like when we were younger. Especially in this game where they kept environmental objects in the exact same spot that it was in the original. The objects have all been made from scratch and pop out more, once flat textures are now fully rendered in 3D. You can even set the surrounding grass on fire now since it's not just a flat grass texture on the ground. Things like lighting and shadows have been added as well, and you can really see the difference in the water, which ripples and splashes very realistically when Spyro swims around in it. In a childhood classic like this, that's a good thing. You play these kinds of games to feel nostalgia, not grapple with new features and ideas. Even if you've never played it before, it remains as easy to pick up as it was back in the day. Except now it's prettier to look at. This makes my favorite childhood activity of rolling around much more satisfying. Every character in the game has gotten a facelift, which is great because I could count with one hand how many polygons the faces from the original had.
Nasty Nork has put one of his most devious henchmen in charge of the artisan world.
Bring him on!
In addition to the graphical upgrade, all of the characters have more life to them. The animations make it look like I'm watching a fully fledged animated film at many points. The developers also updated the soundtrack, which is still true to the original music, except with a more dynamic sound. They even made the music get more intense when Spyro charges. A neat little feature they included in this remake is the ability to switch between the original and remastered soundtracks. Something about being able to switch between the new and the old, I don't know, it just really makes me happy to be able to do that. You know, see for myself the difference in-game. I really think more remakes of games should do that. Though some people have complained about longer load times and frame rate issues, I really haven't noticed either of those. The load times may be slightly longer than the original's load times, but trust me, compared to the load times of many modern games, this is not an issue. As for the frame rates, I don't notice a lag of any kind, but I don't really keep a close eye on frame rates anyway unless they drop below 30. If you're asking whether or not you should get the game, I think it should be clear what my suggestion is. For those of you who don't have a nostalgic attachment to any of these games, you might find them to be a bit too easy. And that's alright, because it was originally a child's game anyway. Still, you may feel less inclined to pay full price for something that you have no emotional investment in, so if you're on the fence, wait for it to go on sale. I guess there's not much more to say other than that. They did a really good job at keeping the remake as close to the original as possible. To review the game further, I'd basically be talking about the originals as well, and that's best left for another video. I rate this game a solid 10 out of 10. It's a perfect clone of the original, but in an insanely higher definition. So, I hope you enjoyed watching this short review. If you did, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment.